a drug. Oh, now I think I must be my user. When I was a river trotter, it came to rain and angel sent from up above. I feel it coursing through my blood. Life is a drink, your love's about to make the stars come out.
Drink from me, drink from me. Pour on a symphony.
When the low
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Can everyone hear me? All right. Okay. So morning to everyone. How is everyone's doing today? I hope everyone is in a great health and the highest energy this morning. So Alhamdulillah, we are here again today for Ask Expert program, which is run every week, Monday to Thursday at 12:30 p.m. So inshallah, on today's 25th Ask Expert session, it is going to be hosted by me, Dr. Noor Akiliriana, and for the first time ever, it will be conducted in our second language, English, to entice more viewers who are not a Malay native speaker. So help me send some love, like and share the link to this video, and let's invite all our Platinum Dr. Rocket friends as well as our colleagues so more people can get the benefit from our sharing session today. So Alhamdulillah, we have a lot of people, a lot of viewers in the stage right now. Thank you, Dr. Prof Shahira Hayati, amazing Prof Tasnim. Thank you, Prof Basit. Peachy 100%, yeah? Let's create a very cheerful mood today. So, subhanallah, we have audiences from different universities and different backgrounds. Can we share where are we from and what PhD are we pursuing right now? Okay. So I can see there are about 50 viewers right now. Let's wait for a few more people coming in. Assalamualaikum, Prof Shaliza, Dr. Shaliza Jumahat. Amazing, amazing. Okay. I think there are more people joining in right now. So without any further ado, let me introduce our special guest expert for today. She is someone that I respected very much, someone who always has high and useful energy and very passionate in science and technology field. She is the Associate Professor, Dr. Siti Sarrah Othman from University of Putra Malaysia, Serdang, Selangor. So before we call her on stage, allow me to briefly share a little bit about her background research and achievements. Prof. Sarrah obtained her PhD from the University of Glasgow, UK in 2011. She did her postdoctoral stint with the Moredun Research Institute, Edinburgh, UK for a year before beginning her career journey as a senior lecturer at the Department of Molecular Biology, Faculty of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences, University Putra Malaysia, Serdang, at the end of 2012. And she received her associate professor in 2019. Prof. Sarrah's research work focused on the development of live attenuated veterinary vaccines for use by the resource-poor farmers. As a molecular biologist, her research has also expanded to manipulate probiotic bacteria in cancer immunotherapy research. Prof. Sarrah's expertise has been recognized by various local and international bodies, including the OECD, Paris, and WestEd USA, and her research has also been sponsored by and collaborated with APEND of Asia Pacific Sdn Bhd and Carl Zeiss Southeast Asia, and many more. Other than actively teaching and doing research, she is also actively contributing in several organizations. Prof. Sarrah is currently the honorary treasurer of the Young Scientists Network under the Academy of Science Malaysia, YSN ASM. She is also an EXCO member of the Malaysian Society for Molecular Biology and Biotechnology since 2018, as well as she is also associated as a life member of the Asian Federation of Biotechnology. In the spirit to nurture young minds and talents, since 2019, Prof. Sarrah has organized and participated in STEM activities and roadshows for local schools and communities in Malaysia and around Thailand. Her active involvement in community engagement was recognized by multiple agencies, including the MOSTI, the MOHI, the Kasetsat University Bangkok, and the Asian Young Scientists Network. Her STEM activities have also been funded by the MSMBB EduSTEM grant, and she has received contributions from local companies such as Infinite Opportunities and many more. So after reading all her backgrounds, I'm so excited to finally invite her to the stage. And team, please welcome our guest speaker for today, Associate Professor Dr. Siti Sarrah Othman. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Sarrah. I can hear you well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nana. I think it was a very lengthy introduction. So I don't have to give a talk anymore.
No,
So
we have a lot to learn from you, about you.
Very happy. Thank you again to be invited today by Dr. Raket and Dr. Nanas. I know Dr. Nur Akili Riana is such a lengthy name as Dr. Nanas. I hope it's okay to address you as Dr. Nana.
Sure, Dr. Sarrah, no problem. All right. How are you today, Doctor? You look so bright and cheerful today.
Well, obviously, I'm not in a cafe, which I wish I am. So I got
coffee.
But I already have my shot of caffeine in the morning. So yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm well.
Right. Okay, alhamdulillah. All right. So here with us today is also they are postgraduate students from different universities and study backgrounds. So, and we are all very excited to actually hear the selling session from you. So maybe I can start with the first question. So our topic for today is bridging the gap, the STEM gap in the community. So before that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the topic that we are going to discuss today, the STEM? And then maybe you can enlighten us in how is your involvement with the STEM actually started? All right, please, I pass down to you, before to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nana. So perhaps after the introduction, the lengthy introduction, actually, very nice introduction by Dr. Nana, maybe I'll brief again our audience. I'm very happy to be among the us experts, speakers, to share. There's a lot of things that I wanted to discuss today because I'm in a professional platform. There's a lot of scientists in training. And Dr. Nana's mentioned postgraduate from different backgrounds, which I think really plays a role in my talk today and what's next or the way forward for bridging the STEM gap in the community. So I am an associate professor in the Department of Cell and Molecular Biology. So my works mainly in the veterinary vaccines for cattle and buffaloes, and I have extended those work into the probiotic cancer immunotherapy for colon cancer. So most of them for the vaccine part, the veterinary vaccine, we are already distributing our vaccine to Southeast Asia, to a lot of field, but we are currently modifying the vaccines to the second level. We'll talk about that more if you guys wanted me to share into that level, but targeting for resource poor farmers. And for the cancer immunotherapy, we are trying to make cancer therapy more relaxed. You know how difficult it is with cancer patients, with radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Perhaps we could have a co-therapy by using yogurt. That's the idea. So those are along the line. We are still in proof of concept, and so far, alhamdulillah, it looks promising. And for myself, I actually have, I'm married with two children, my son and my daughter. Both are 8 years old and 9 months old. I have several postgraduate students running the research. So they are basically the engines of the research lab. Without them, I'm crippled. I'm not going anywhere. I think most lecturers will say this as well. So today's topic, if we'll be okay, are we sharing the slides, Dr. Nanas, or right? Today's topic is actually very close to my heart since 2018. I think it was before, but I don't have the many chance to actually execute my own STEM initiative. It was always together. You have to work in collaboration, of course, with the Malaysian Society for Molecular Biology and Biotechnology, or the Young Scientist Network with Academy of Sciences Malaysia. They have offered so many platforms of outreach that when we go out to see the community and I look at and see how poor we are faring in terms of science literacy. Looking at a lot of initiatives that Academy of Sciences wanted to do, which I'm going to show on my next slide, I felt that something must be done. So 2018 and onwards, my laboratory, my postgraduate students, and also my undergraduate students, we have come up together with the ways to actually go out to schools, go out to the community, to the public, to see what can we do, what can we help to nurture or to bridge the STEM gap. So when you say STEM, it's relatively just science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And if you look at it, it's not something strange anymore. But I think I used the word science literacy before in terms of gauging, in terms of understanding how much did our community know. And in a way, the pandemics, to me, the silver linings of the pandemics, the clouds, every cloud has a silver lining, is that more people are more aware on jargons in my field, for example, molecular biology. People are not strange on vaccinations. People are not strange in boosting vaccination by taking boosters. People are no more strange on mRNA. So elevated from DNA, so they need to know what is mRNA. So it depends on which crowds ask me that, and I will then mold the answer based on their backgrounds. So I felt that a lot of members of the community now are more literate in terms of what's going on in our body. When you take vaccine, what happened to you? Why do you actually have fever? So those are actually science literacy. And we don't want it to be very centered to just molecular biology. We want them to be in engineering, we want them to be in energy, for example, even social sciences, business and economics. So if I can move on to my next slide. All right. So before we were actually addressing, bridging the STEM gap, we need to have some awareness what's actually going on in our community. So it's more on our own awareness before we actually go there and create awareness. And I'm sure everyone's somehow came across this Twitter post by the previous MOSTIS ministers, KJ, Khairy Jamaluddin, put this up. And when he was working with Academy of Sciences together to come up with this framework, was talking about Malaysia need to achieve 10 to 10 my STIE. And this was a translated version into Malay. And if you look at this and imagine our parents, our aunties, our uncles at homes looking at these infographics, can they actually fathom what's going on? The 10 drivers of science technology and how can it actually support the 10 drivers of Malaysian social economies. And these 10 drivers of science technology is not just centric in Malaysia, it's a global drivers. In order for us to set up to increase or to entice the world toward our country, this is a framework that we must achieve by 2025. That's the plan. So Academy of Sciences of Malaysia put up these frameworks. It's supposed to be, if you look at my slide, it provide a systematic approach to transform Malaysia into a knowledge-intensive economy by design. So knowledge-intensive are very, very relevant in this case for science literacy. What does it aims to generate shared economic prosperity? Right? Every single community members, every single people in Malaysia must benefit from these particular technologies.
All right. Okay.
So if we ourselves did not understand what's in there, how are we going to convey this information to the communities? Ken?
That's so true, Dr. Sarrah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the brief introduction of what is actually STEM. So we now understand that STEM is actually a term used for science, technology, engineering, and M for
Mathematics.
mathematics. So it's basically a science, a true science, as well as you also mentioned just now, it's also related to social sciences. So yeah, so it's also interesting to see the slides that we're having right now. It's on the 10 drivers of science and technology framework, which aimed by our government, by our nation, or our government to achieve by 2025. And we can see that there are, most of them are involved sciences as well as ITs, the technology is very related to the STEM that we are going to discuss today. So, so moving on. So, Prof. Sarrah, can you elaborate a little bit more on why the STEM is actually a problem in the society nowadays?
Right. So I think more often than not, if anyone from the audience perhaps can volunteer the same information, you could meet a child. So now it's Shawwal, right? Happy Eid, everyone. Selamat Hari Raya. You more often not asking them if they are in secondary school, for example, and you will see out of 10 kids that you ask, perhaps only 1 or 2 took up science stream. Why? My personal experience is when I went into the school for one of the activity, the STEM activity, they were saying that the parents actually told them that it's difficult. Science is difficult. Do not take it. It's not going to bring you anywhere because you couldn't cope. Or some of them sadly say it's the teachers. The teachers said that science is too difficult for me, so they advised me against it. It's not a blaming game at this stage. I kind of understand when we do the experiment to them. I said this is science. So it was a very simple experiment where we use anything in the kitchen to actually see the DNA, which was was quite fun at that time. And they were saying this is interesting. They did not say easy. They say interesting. Is this science? Yes. And you're gonna look at it this way in physics. The same thing in chemistry. It's all related to the everyday things that you do at home. And they were like, that's really interesting. And why do these people say it's difficult? Well, like I said, I think I told this, Dr. Nanas used to be in my laboratory before. She was the students under my mentor, which is Professor Dato' Wiro Dr. Raha, currently the director of the NIBM. She's currently residing in ABI, if everyone's known, near Mardi. So I once told them that it took the whole community to teach a child. One professor told me before, this is a story in Japan. So this old lady was trying to cross the road. Maybe a lot of you in the audience are already familiar with these stories as well. So that it was midday. There's not much traffic. Basically, there's no cars. That particular traffic lights, and it was green for the cars to move on. And there was a young guy was trying to cross the road. Was looking at the old lady, thinking that the old lady need help. So he was asking that lady, perhaps I can help you cross the road because there's no car. We don't need to wait for the pedestrian light to turn green. And she just looked at the young guy and said, what if a child saw me doing that? What if a child saw her crossing the road while the pedestrian lights was red? So the take-home message here is it took the whole community, every single individual to teach a child. So if one person say that it's difficult, it's going to be difficult. But if one person actually say it easy, supported by the whole communities, then it's going to be easy. And then another sharing that I wanted to say is that they were saying that the language used in science is difficult. Well, I'm at this level. I still think it's difficult. It took me times to reread a lot of sentences. By all means, that is not in our mother tongue as well. So of course, right, Nana? I'm sure, Dr. Nana, when you go review your journals, it took you time to read. But this is your position when you are an expert in a certain field. In a way, having a PhD in that particular field, you need to translate them into a layman term, tell that to the kids, and slowly adapting them to the jargons. If I share my next slide, this is sometimes in, I think, 2020, shared in the newspapers, post the PISA 2018 result, which I'm going to show you later, showing that there's a detrimental decreased numbers of students enrolling into sciences, enrolling into any of the science field. It's really worrying because we're at the university, we can see lesser and lesser enrollment or requesting to take up programs that is in pure sciences. And this would reflect the future of the nation, reflect our futures, because these undergraduate students or people in the secondary schools now, they are the future leaders of the countries. And if we are not addressing this problem now, we're going to have problem later. And if I wanted to share a little bit about PISA 2018 worldwide ranking, you can see that Malaysia resided really below 450, the marks of below 450. Comparing to other nations, while our neighboring country, Singapore, was the second highest rated. This is 2018. It was a big debut last time when the result comes out, I think. And I was one of the auditors for PISA 2018 during that time, and I can see that the exam was conducted fairly worldwide. And if you look at this graph and focus on the red line in the middle of reading, mathematics, and science, you can see that Malaysia is nowhere near the average OECDs, the average of those particular exams. So it goes back, it reflects back to us. It reflects back to us because these children are learning by examples. The community, as the parents, as the people of Malaysia. Right? So how are we going to address the Malaysian STIE 1010 framework if our community itself perhaps have less interest in scientific advancement? Bear in mind, it involves all the 5G, 6G, sensor technologies, and so many parts, not just life sciences. So during those times, Dr. Nana, if I must say, we were very worried. And we were saying that let's make science sexy. They say it's sexy during those times, or science more interesting, where we can entice younger generation to come in. Senang je, it's so interesting. That's what I think. Maybe addressing your questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah. Yes, we are a little bit more clear now after Prof. Sarah has explained to us the problem, what is the gap, what is actually happening in the community right now. And we can see that, just to recap, that there is actually a huge gap in the education level, probably because of the difference in the between the poor and the rich in our country. And we also noticing that it's going to be more concerning in the next few years, due to the trend that people are now focusing on surviving more rather than pursuing education post-COVID endemic era, right? So
True.
yeah, we all also feel that this is actually, there's actually a very concerning and also very huge gap. And it is our role, our responsibility to bridge the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics gap in the community. So moving on for the next question, Dr. Sarah, can you share with us maybe what is the relevance of STEM with your research, and how can we actually bridging the gap in the society?
Right. So my specific research per se, like I told you before, it's about veterinary vaccines and cancer immunotherapy. There's a lot of stories with veterinary vaccines. Commonly, the disease that I'm working with is because farmers in Southeast Asia, Asian Africa mainly, are not professional rich farmers. They are normally poor and poor resources. They don't have much access to healthcare, for example, in India, let alone in Malaysia, and also let alone healthcare of their own animals, in this case bovine, which is cattle and buffaloes. I think everyone heard about Mowgli buffaloes. It was a recent news during the pandemic. This boy, you know Mowgli is the cartoon, right? I forgot the boy's name. It was very close to the buffaloes in his father's farm, and apparently it was succumbed by a disease. And in overnight, he lost more than hundreds of buffaloes. So it was succumbed by the disease that we work with called hemorrhagic septicemia, caused by one little bacteria, very little bacteria, goes into the respiratory tract of the animal, release toxin, and then kills the animal. And because of the buffaloes, they do nose touching to one another. That's how they greet to one another. It get transmitted. So the virulence of those particular bacteria goes to one buffalo to another, and then it get died off. How do you actually educate these farmers saying that you need to vaccinate? Pakcik kena vaksin animal ni pakcik. Pakcik kena vaksin kerbau ni setiap tahun. You need to vaccinate them every year. So most farmers vaccinate this year. 2 years doesn't have any disease, they don't vaccinate anymore. Because the current vaccine that they use to requires so many veterinarians to come in. Vets have to come in to hold, and each buffalo need to be jabbed. They need to jab the buffaloes. Not here lah, buffaloes lah. So we design vaccines that perhaps the farmers can use without the vets. You don't have to conduct vets to come in, just in a spray bottle. So if I can use a spray bottle, just spray one nostril of the buffaloes and let the buffaloes commingle with others, they self-vaccinate. So those are amongst of our patented vaccines that we're going to improve. Instead of just put against one bacteria, there's so many other bacteria and viruses that infected cattle and buffaloes. We're going to put everything in a spray bottle. Kita human ada sugar bombs here, sembuh-sembuh wangi. For cattle, sembuh, we spray at the nose, it get one spray protects all. That's our goal lah. So if you wanted to see how I translated the research to address poor farmers' problem. But for STEM ni, my core background is molecular biology, and the very, very central dogma of molecular biology is actually DNA. And I think everyone post-pandemic knows what DNA is. DNA is the genetic code of life. Without DNA, you are nothing. Everything on you, everything naturally is all orchestrated by your DNA. The sequence, whatever the color of your skin, the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, it all comes from half from parents, half from mama, half from papa. So supposed to use, and then it reflects on you. Okay, and then the best thing about women pula, we actually inherited our ancestors, our nenek, moyang yang belah perempuan, mitochondrial DNA. If you don't have a daughters, your mitochondrial DNA of that tu stop kat situ. If you have a daughters, it get the lineage continue. That's something new information kan. So if I harvest mitochondrial DNA from your daughter, for example, we can get those lineage sampai nenek moyang ni sebelum ni. That's the interesting part lah. Dr. Nana said I can use 2 languages. Apparently today it's all English. I was looking at Dr. Rocket's videos before, it's on Malay kan. Hari ni English, but she said can campur-campur a bit. So I campur-campur a bit. I hope it's okay. Right. So because DNA is something very close to me, I felt that everyone in the world, especially in Malaysia, should know what DNA is. Because DNA are them. They are DNA. Without DNA, they are not going to be there. Tak ada. No skin, nothing, cannot make anything. So we said, what about we let the public see how to take their DNA out? So if I about to share my next slide ni, I think I can skip lah what is STEM. I think my audience are all professionals kan, scientists in training, they already know what STEM. This is all from the, I think I have references at the bottom from the labor divisions in United States as well. Why do they think that STEM's workers earn 26% more cash? Kata dia lah. And then this is basic methods in teaching. I don't have to go through this lah. I think traditional teaching is all memorizing, and I'm sure you guys, maybe some of you already part-time teaching as a lecturer, or even have any students. Our way of learning is always half-file, memorizing. So when we memorize, we don't know how to apply. It really reflects even to students these days. Our education at schools are still memorizing. So for STEM is they need to experience. They experience it through experiments. They observe, and before they do those experiments, they have curiosity. They are curious. They ask questions. They do the experiment to answer the questions. Like you guys do research. Problem statement, hypothesis, objective method. The same thing we want to instill as young as 4 or 5 years old. Even you as a parent dekat rumah, I tengok tadi comment somebody said, my daughter know what STEM, my children know. Bagus, good. And then tell them a bit more. Maybe it's vitamins behind what they take. Orange juice kan, they like orange juice and Coca-Cola. Which one's better? Those are actually STEM. You're already instilling slowly to your children. That's important. Okay. Right, this is the ecosystem lah. Like I said before kan, a whole community to teach one child. Everyone need to play a role. We cannot point fingers, oh, PISA result bad. The role of Ministry of Education, we cannot do that. Or what is university doing? What happened? Why is university not going down? we cannot blame, because one finger's pointing to the others, another four pointing to us. What is our role? Are we playing the right role? Itu the important bits that we need to, as a parents, as a family member, as a pakcik makcik yang if you have anak buah kan, as a community members yang paling penting, the most important thing. What's our role? Kan? Right. So when I talk about DNA, now this is one of my undergraduate students. She started her FYP, so the first in the department that actually do a STEM project. Normally our departments are very sciencey centric, very research basis, plant biotechnology, microbial biotechnology. So I've decided let's try one. Because we need to address this problem in the community, let's try one kit. So I, together with some of the intern students previously from Thailand that come into the laboratory, we designed a kit that is so simple that when we give people at home, they can do by themselves. Okay, this is a kit where we wanted to isolate your DNA from your own skin, but we use cheek cells. From where? Tak payah guna toothpick anything, saliva. We do this pre-COVID. So it's okay for people to put saliva in their cup. These days, if I ask for your saliva, I pun takut. With this COVID punya exposure and all that. This is before where we ask for saliva. But these experiments can also be done to fruits like banana, onion, apple, semua kita dah pernah buat. Alright. So the students developed this kit and she actually joined a SME Corps presentation and she won cash to actually develop a prototype. I think about 15K cash to develop a prototype. Was actually quite interesting. All right. So how did we also wanted the communities to access more information about this kit, what they can do? We work together with FastLab Global. FastLab Global is not just biology centric. They have kits in chemistry, quick sense, on slime, on perfumery, on physics, and there's many more. They are from USIM, University Science Malaysia. Then they also tap their viewers through social media. So this is just now Kurato Ain, the students, entering a competition in MSMBB official, MSMBB TikTok competition in 2020. So she is showing how we actually isolate our DNA by ourselves at home. Let me share that this material inside here, it's all actually can be found in our kitchen. Right. If the organizer, Dr. Nana, maybe can play the TikTok video, show it to our audience, what is inside the kit. Boleh ke?
Alright, Kim, can you please help Dr. Sarah? Okay.
This an experiment called Are You a Human or an AI? So there, we have salt, a cup, a toothpick, glyphosate, some pineapple juice, and some ethanol. Okay. Something here. Is here. Then stir it up at the ethanol. Aku.
What is this?
Okay, it's a DNA.
This is it. Your DNA. So that proves you are you human or AI?
Human.
Human. We can see this DNA because DNA cannot be diluted in alcohol. So that's why it's there.
So I actually do that video with my son, Dr. Nana, if you remember.
Yes, that's actually I remember him. Yes.
So it's all basic ingredients that you can find in the kitchen. Dishwashing liquid, salt, pineapple juice, or any acidic juice lah. Kalau ada orange juice peel fresh pun boleh. So it's quite easy to do, and you don't need to spend a lot of money to do simple experiments like this. All right. So hope that answer your question too.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Sarah. It's really enlightening. So yeah, we now become more clear now on the issues of STEM. Yeah, and it's actually after Dr. Sarah has said just now, we now understand better that the STEM, the education about STEM should start as early as the young age. So it's as early as our children, our kids. So we have to start exposing them to the STEM in the early stage. So yeah, I've actually looked up to online, and I've seen that it's actually very easy to instill the science in our everyday life, especially to our kids, by just changing the way the toys that they are playing with. So rather than buying a lot of like princessy stuff for our children, we can start giving them like critical thinking toys like Lego, and there are so many other ways that we can actually start the science in our kids young, right? So
Sometimes, Dr. Nana, kalau I may
yeah.
add, sometimes kan the existing toys that we have for our kids, contoh we have glass balls, guli kan, we have guli and we
Yes.
also have a lighter balls kan, we put them in the water and then we explain to them why this one sink faster than the other balls, for example.
True.
Those are actually already STEM, but it's just that you need to ask them to do the experiments or the challenge them. For example, we have a lot of toothpicks, ask them to build a bridge contoh. Build a bridge kan, okay, build this bridge using this toothpick. Let's say you only give several toothpick, you need to join from, let's say you make a tower of books A to books B kan, build a tower, those books and then build those bridge kan. It can be that simple, it can be that easy, but what is required from the parents? The biggest, the most expensive thing, which is the time. Masa kan, time. We need
Yes.
to give our time, which is ni lah banyak parents ni, this is me time, my mobile phone time kan. Boleh, but we have to give time to our child to learn. And kena ada curiosity driven ni. What happened? What's going to happen? Kena make them a task that they will ask question. And then you kena dengar. Itulah time. That's the most important bit lah. Time to parent, as a parent, even as a community member, even as a pakcik, as a makcik, as a abang, as a kakak, time is very important. Tak ada dah this time, because below 10 years old ni, their minds ni macam sponge. They can learn as much. Trust me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we see that there's actually many interesting ways of making science relevant to the community, and our viewers even shared that we can also we can begin we can start the education at home, even in the kitchen and all, right? We just need to be more creative and be more open to start pursuing or starts making the science in our not jargon anymore in our community. So now we also learned that it doesn't require a huge effort to make a change. It can just start by just a little effort to make a difference in the community. And this is actually very important, as simple as also by sharing our everyday activities that involve science in, for example, like what Dr. Sarrah shared just now, in your IG, in your TikTok, like you want to say about colorectal cancer, but it's so difficult to say. It's going to be hard for common people or like community to understand if they doesn't have prior knowledge on colorectal cancer. But you can like put images and like just a simple thing and explain what it is. So it sounds very doable, right? So okay.
Yes, it is very doable. I'm very interesting to read all the comments as well. There's a lot of people were saying that perhaps there's too many questions, too difficult to address the question from the kids kan. True, the more they ask question, lagi cerdik dia. The more kita layan, dia lagi cerdik. Cuma itulah, when we cannot answer, together with them, we find a way to find the answer. So my son now is really good in even using incognito window. If he's searching something that I don't want to, might make me angry. They learn so fast. So you have to have a lot of controls now when you allow them devices, for example, right? So they teach them how to search keywords. Teach them what valid information that they should access. So this is the time when they are 6-7 years old. The time where you tap. This is how you actually find information. This is spam. Do not open it. This is bad websites. So this early teaching ni, slowly digitization is so easy to them. Learning apps kan, it's going to be so easy because this is something that we need every community members to adopt. I don't have to. You don't have to look far, Nana. If we look at how people wanted to adopt for Telegram, for example, it was first coming in as a WhatsApp, right? Coming in WhatsApp, and people were saying, "Oh, WhatsApp now have problem if you have small capacity in the phones. You need some the images or the videos saved in a cloud rather than goes directly into the phone." And people say, "Download lah Telegram." The most common question say, "Sama ke macam WhatsApp? Senang tak macam WhatsApp?" Something like that. And also if you goes into the portal kan, tak kisahlah university portal ke whatever portal you wanted to key in, or if you are a webmaster that you wanted to build a portal, people will say it have to be as user friendly as Facebook, as you wanted to post things in a Facebook. So you can see how people are already benchmarking technology, and if it's that easy, people will start adopting it. So if you wanted every single individual in the country to adopt technology, you have to make it user friendly. So this what businesses can tap, kan? Businesses can tap. That's why you tengok platforms, all these online shopping platform, they are always quite easy, quite straightforward, quite direct. So those are actually science literacy in the public. How do they absorb? They're not necessarily just hardcore science like physics, biology, chemistry, but it's also in adopting technology. And slowly, once they have account like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, this is where you professionals in this my audience, you yourself upload 30 seconds video, 1 minute video about one point. I saw just now about revelation, and I really like it. Even people talking about the beauty of fasting. I think I recently came across this TikTok video entering competition for MSNBB 2022, talking about the beauty of fasting. Where do the senescent cells in our body, sel nyanyuk, senescent cell in our body, can be cleaned up during fasting month. That's quite interesting as well. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Right.
So thank you, sir. So we can see that after we address this gap in the science literacy, we actually open more door and opportunities for many other fields or business to actually cater and address these problems. Especially, for example, if it's related to technology, is the gap that causes community to be distant from the STEM. Then we can start focusing on this field, the technology field, the IT people. Where are these? We have a lot of postgraduates students in our country right now. So we can start thinking ahead of what we can actually do and try to link the problem that we are addressing today related to science, and how you can actually benefit it and try to address the problem, make solutions for the community. All right. So as I was saying just now, a lot of our viewers are postgraduate students. So Prof Sarrah, so how do you see that this STEM can impact our postgraduate life? And how can it be a significance or a big contribution to the nation? Or in other words, why science literacy is actually very important for the country? So maybe you can enlighten us a little bit.
Thank you, Dr. Nahna. I think those questions have been addressed slowly, but what I wanted to again bring you as an individual, because you guys are professionals in this group, you should ask yourself in the future, how relevant is the field that you are studying, the research that you are doing, the thesis that you are writing to the community? And how do you make it relevant? Doktor, I tengah create diamond nak buat wire. Lambat lagi. Nampak tak? Most of the questions pun, if I ask my student, we are creating cancer immunotherapy, doctor, it's not going to be tomorrow. Kan? So we feel this gap. We are not bridging this gap ourselves. While doing this cancer and everything, you actually learn the basic information about it that you can slowly give it to the community. That you can slowly make a TikTok video, that you can slowly make an Instagram post, or that you can actually sembang-sembang while eating ketupat masa raya. Kan? Sembang-sembang, how to make it layman. So this is science communication. Macam mana you nak borak tu, when you want to talk to people from every field pun faham. For example, they talk about mRNA vaccine. For example, this Pfizer vaccines, kenapa beza dengan Sinovac ni kan? So the person that asked me was an engineer background. So he said, what's the difference kan? Nak ambil Sinovac ke, nak ambil Pfizer, apa beza? Cakap sama je. Kalau tengok from the publication, it might have relevance or significant applicability to vaccinate you against COVID-19. But if you use Sinovac ni, it's like you are using the whole jet pejuang tu.
Kan? Macam fighter jet tu the whole thing. But if you use Pfizer mRNA ni, maybe it's just dia punya scud aja, dia punya rocket aja you pakai, directly targeted for your body to develop against COVID-19. So the way you, like I said, this is called rhetoric speaking lah. The way you communicate science, it depending on the background of the people that ask the question. So those are among the things that each of you in this live video ni have a role now. How can we talk to our child, parents, pakcik, makcik, atuk, everyone around us, and pakcik kita, makcik kita beli nasi lemak in the morning? Can be as simple as weather. After rain like this, so hot. Why is it so humid after rain? Sometimes the question is simple, but triggers you. Tomorrow you come, yesterday you were asking me this question, I'm going to answer you today. But janganlah bagi jawapan Wikipedia yang very difficult, very complex, or the wording to simplify it, make it fun. Science should be fun. It's always to be something for always seronok dengar jawapan dia macam tu. It have to be something like that. Kalau I think if you look at the impact, one of the impact that from these STEM activities that we do, I'm going to show you a little bit. This is where we go to MRSM certain. You can see MRSM is not a problem because they all are scientific background. And then we were taking up the challenge. We go to primary schools, international school, primary school kids. So they have from 5 years old actually, from their preschools. They learn about DNAs, they learn about all other things. So this one we incorporate, we collaborate with UC, plus like globals, and they have experts in physics, chemistry, and beside biology together with us. So when I went out like this, I will drag all my students with me. Come, regardless you wanted to do this or not, stop your lab work, come, look at the community, look what we can help. So you feel relevant tau. Doing PhD ni is very individual journey kan. Very lonely. Tak kisahlah you ada anak 12 when you have 12 kids, it's very lonely journey because you seorang je yang faham problem. You are the only one who understand the problem. So sometimes you have to go out, look at the world in a bigger picture, go out of the box. This would actually refresh your mind. When your mind refresh, inshallah, you can get more solutions to address your problem, your thesis problem. And then we went to see public during one of the Kelly SF in 2019 at MICC. This time before pandemic, kan, everyone can still come. Cannot handle, so excited. So each of these, they isolated their own DNA. It's not easy to get kids to spit in a cup. We just give them a cup. They thought it's a free drink. I said, now spit in the cup. It was quite fun. But obviously, I'm not going to do this post-COVID. No more saliva. Very scared. And then we have also trained some. This is some of my students from Bangkok, from Kasasat University. They came to UPM and we trained them to be a STEM trainer. We train them because in Thailand, you can do the same thing. You can do exactly the same thing. So they are so excited of the training. They invited us to one of their STEM open day in one of the school in Pathum Thani. Pathum Thani ni kat Bangkok lah, Tanyarat School. So it's quite interesting. So we trained them how to do. They run the stations over there. So these are all Thai students lah. Actually running exactly the same STEM experiments that we did in Malaysia. So we collaborated with the schools and we collaborated with Kasasat University to develop more trainers. At the end of the day, I think some of you asked among the comments just now, we need to know how. If you say as individual, you can start from one post on your own expertise. You can talk about the buoyancy of water or what's different between fats and protein, for example. But as a group, you can do more. So to have a group, you need to train more trainers. So this is the young postgraduate students, all the trainers kan. I at this age, nak handle 20, 30 kids. It will be very exhausting. So I need more younger people. And then this is with YSN ASM, we organized this ASEAN 3 Junior Science Odyssey. It has been a competition to tackle very smart kids. From ASEAN countries and plus 3. This is including Japan, China, I forgot the other one. And the 7th ASEAN 3 Junior Science was organized by Malaysia. Together with Young Scientist Network of Malaysia and Academy of Sciences of Malaysia, we have curated the STEM activities to challenge these students. South Korea, Philippines, they are all very smart students. At this stage, I observe how different is the understanding of our local students and the other from the ASEAN countries. At this stage, because the participants are from TKC, MRSM, you don't see far. But look at PISA. PISA doesn't go to just smart schools. They randomly pick schools, and normally the schools that are audited are all in the not. Some are suburb, some are not suburb. So this is where we can really notice the gap in science literacy. Those are something that kita kena address lah. I think that's my last sharing slides lah. And of course, I wanted this slide is very important because this is my collaborators. Like I said, you have to work in a group, and also funding. Without money, I cannot go far. So this is the people's behind these logos are the one that continuously funding the STEM initiatives, STEM activities that we wanted to do for the public. So that will be my last sharing slides, I think. And if any of you interested to join us, boleh directly email me whenever we have STEM activities in the future. We will always invite you. And if you have your own idea to initiate your own stations, boleh. We do forensic science. We have forensic science on we make like a CSI crime scene and how you actually detect whether this particular mannequin, we use a mannequin, not real people, mannequin to being murdered ke apa. Kids love this kind of activities. And normally when we do at KLESF where public can access, they do this with their parents, with their brothers. So it is a community activities. It's an effort that not one person, just me, cannot do it. It have the whole concerted effort from everyone, every individual in this particular live session today.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah. So I believe we have learned so much today on our topic, STEM. So here, Dr. Sarah has also shared her email. So for anyone who wants to, maybe perhaps you have further questions to ask, you can always email Dr. Sarah again. And also maybe for future collaborations or networking. So the email is sarrahothman@upm.edu.my. So it's sarrahothman@upm.edu.my. Okay. So I think maybe today, at the end of the session today, maybe we can start asking ourselves, we can start telling ourselves one task or challenge that we can do. How can we talk to people around us something related to science, just a basic science? Maybe we start with our husband, our wife, our kids, our mom and dad at home. So maybe today we can start challenge ourselves. How can we talk to them and tell them something related to the basic science that actually every day that we go through our everyday life is actually also involve science, right? Okay. So I think it's a very amazing sharing, Prof. Sarrah. So maybe before we end our session today, our very interesting session today, since we have, there are a lot of postgraduates here who are watching with us right now. So maybe Prof. Sarrah has maybe some one or two advices to them. What can they actually instill in their mind in order for them to keep going, keep pursuing, finish what they've started, and actually, and at the end of the day, after completing their PhD or maybe master, to give back to the community and to give back to the nation. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Nana. Well, perhaps like one last word lah ni. So everyone's currently doing postgraduate. Some of you have graduated kan. Like I said before, if you're doing your PhD ke master ni, when you do a research, when you choose research ni, it's a very lonely journey. You're the only one who understand the problem in your research, regardless of your lab mates ke, your supervisors, your family members. And if you are doing it in a foreign land, lagi lah. Because you rasa macam you have no one. You have no one. Of course you have one, Allah lah. So always go back to basic. Whenever you have problems, minta dekat Allah, number one. Second is, don't stay in the box. When you have a problem, don't stay in the box. Macam mana nak keluar? How are we going to escape from the box. The box is around us, kan? You tengok depan your laptop problem, kiri kanan problem, everywhere is problem. How do you escape the box? By doing activities like this, relevant to your field, but not necessarily addressing directly your thesis, indirectly. You meet people, you go out, you speak. It doesn't have to be kids, it doesn't have to be school children. It can be peers, it can be somebody that is out of your norm environment, and it can be meeting virtually. I think that's the effort that you guys have in your society, in your cycles, which is very good. Talk about listening to talks like this. Those actually will ignite the part of your brains that are stuck. Ignite the part of your brains that are stuck. And when you do this, automatically, inshallah, you will have a fresher mind to approach the problem. When you are stuck, you have been countlessly stuck, step back for a little bit, step back, look at things at the bigger picture, and then come back. Right? There is a favorite Arabic saying or idioms that I always use when I was abroad in the UK is walk 1,000 miles to solve your problem. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. You're already stuck in a problem. You're so tired. You ask me to walk 1,000 miles. But I think when the weather is permitted lah in Malaysia, ni is a bit because we are humid. When I was in the UK, it was the best time for me to walk is actually when it's the coldest weather, -12, -10, because your brain are forced in such an uncomfortable situation. Uncomfortable. You have to walk with boots on, with glove, with everything, with muffler, with all your beanies and all. And you are forced to appreciate what you have. At least you're not outside here at -12, with snowing, slippery road. That is the time I do my walking and my thinking. And it really clears my mind. When you walk and come back, meaning walk away from your problem, come back and restart. Sometimes that is all you need to restart when you meet a roadblock. But once you are successful, this is a very important message that I always tell my students as well. Do not forget to look back. Look back to the people who have helped you. Look back to the problem that you have left, because those are the ones that actually help you to go further. Go further, inshallah. We pray for everyone's success, inshallah. To finish all your studies and to become who you want to be in the future. And of course, don't forget, give back to the communities. How? You start from just one thing, talking by online or offline. You can do that, inshallah.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Dr. Sarrah. Yeah, as simple as that. By just talking and sharing online or offline. So thank you so much, our guest speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Siti Sarrah Othman from University of Putra, Malaysia. Dr. Sarrah is actually, she is actually my co-supervisor, and she is, I would say, the only representative that's actually come from the beginning to the end during my Viva presentation. So I really appreciate and I really treasure Dr. Sarrah very much in my life, in my PhD journey life. So thank you, Dr. Sarrah, for all your great sharing today. Inshallah, whatever that we have learned today, we try to we try to embrace the knowledge and turn it into action. So whatever knowledge that we have gained is not going to be beneficial until we spread it, until we actually make it into action. So inshallah, also one important message that Dr. Sarrah has said just now is that the more we actually fall, the higher we should actually bounce back. So and it's never wrong to have failures, and it's actually the only way for you to actually grow. So never be afraid of making mistakes or failures in your life, but take it as a learning point, as something that you can use to bounce back even higher after. So inshallah, thank you everyone. Thank you all our viewers, and I would also like to thank our Dr. Rocket as well as Dr. Mar and the whole team for assisting with our session today. And thank you to all our viewers too for being so attentive and being so responsive in the comment section. So maybe after this session, we can read up again all these beautiful comments, and maybe there are a lot more that we can learn from the comments too. And also I would like to again thank Dr. Sarrah for giving us your valuable time to be with us here today, and just sharing lightly about science, STEM in the community, and how we can actually close the gap and help the community as well as the nation better. So with that, I think I'm sorry also on my behalf for any uh, weaknesses and everything. I thank and we're grateful back to the God. So thank you so much, everyone, and hope we can see again in the next session. So for tomorrow, we are going to have Dr. Muazzah bersama as the host, and the topic for tomorrow is bidang terjemahan, apa yang anda perlu tahu. So please let us share and invite anyone that we know that has the same bidang with bidang terjemahan or Arabic bidang as well as others who are interested to know about this topic. All right, thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.
Walk 1,000